Nobody's been treated like Trump in terms of badly.
Not in terms of badly, nobody. I mean, I know I was literally just talking about Lincoln 5 seconds ago. He wasn't treated in terms of as badly. Maybe in terms of head, in terms of bullet, but not in terms of badly. So that's Donald Trump. His brain is failing before our very eyes, and his excuses for why he keeps talking in that utterly bizarre way are failing as well. But don't worry, he's got a new excuse, and he rolled it out on Truth Social saying, the Hur report was revealed today, a disaster for Biden, a two-tiered standard of justice. Artificial intelligence was used by them against me in their videos of me. Can't do that, Joe. Well, do you think that Joe Biden is a part of the Hur hearings? He wasn't there. He's not in Congress. Are you okay, Donald Trump? It was Jerry Nadler's the one who rolled out the mashup of you looking like a buffoon. Can't do that, Jerry. That would be appropriate. Do you know that they're different people? Is this like a Nancy Pelosi, Nikki Haley thing? Are you mixing them up again? In your literal fake defense of yourself, are you committing another act of brain rot? So he's saying it's AI. It's not authentic. Well, let's evaluate it. Here is the mashup that Nadler presented.
Viktor Orban, did anyone ever hear of him? He's the leader of Turkey.
By the way, they never report the crowd on January 6th. You know, Nikki Haley is in charge of security.
3 years later, how about that?
Did you actually have a one-on-one with Comey then?
Not much, not even that I remember.
I like besitos. We have languages coming into our country. We have nobody that even speaks those languages. They're truly foreign languages. Nobody speaks them. Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat to.
I have a really good memory.
Your next wife was a woman by the name of Marla Maples?
That's right.
Do you recall what years you were married to Ms. Maples?
It's called like Up Here, and it's called Memory, and it's called other things.
So you don't remember saying you have one of the best memories?
I don't remember that.
And Putin, has so little respect for Obama that he's starting to throw around the nuclear word. You heard that, nuclear.
We have to win in November, or we're not going to have Pennsylvania. They'll change the name.
I talked to Putin a lot.
Did you ask him that?
I don't remember that. I saw that this morning. I don't remember asking him that question.
I have a good memory and all that stuff, like a great memory.
For 20 years, they were fighting ISIS. I defeated ISIS in 4 weeks.
And we did with Obama. We won an election that everyone said couldn't be won.
I'm not cognitively. And you know what? When I am, you're going to know it. You're going to be the first people. I know my people. You'll say, all right, Trump, you did a good job. Get the hell out of here. That's it.
So look, if somebody puts together a mashup like that of you, then that's gonna sting. You're not gonna like that. And I despise Trump, but I get that this would hurt your feelings or whatever. There are a variety of different ways that you can address that, Donald Trump. And hiding behind utterly baseless, foolish claims that it was AI generated is no way to go, because we've seen those clips before. They're not new. Nadler put them together, or some intern put them together, whatever. That doesn't make it AI. That's not a deep fake. That's you. Yeah, I mean, like, since that mashup was presented to the nation, you've given speeches and you've given interviews and you've produced enough clips to put together another one in terms of badly. Like, you're the one who is providing this, and it doesn't even end there. Some of the hits were there. I particularly love that's a great one, but there's others too, and that I think maybe actually do a better job of getting across the idea that he is starting to fall apart, because Nadler's got some old clips there. He's got some clips that aren't really like the brain rot. They're just Trump being buffoonish and exaggerating and all that. But I want to give you just a little bit of a particular problem that Donald Trump has. Take a look at this.
Our hope is a word and world. Authority and authoritarian powers.
Beating expectations in the House for the midterm and midterm year.
They sacrifice every day for the furniture and future of their children.
And you might recall the context and content of religion. Because look, if you're worried about the Nancy Pelosi getting mixed up with Nikki Haley, I think that makes sense. It's super weird. He keeps mixing Joe Biden and Obama up, and there's no explanation for that. But this, I think, is actually worse. And we had Dr. John Gartner on the program just a couple of weeks ago to talk about it, because that's examples of what he referred to as, and I believe it's pronounced, phonemic periphasius. And you can see the exact same thing happening over and over. And in that mashup, at the same speech, he's trying to get to a word, he can't get to it in his mind, so he says something like the word. It's similar in some way. And then he pauses, and then he says the word. It's very predictable. A lot of what Trump does is strange and bizarre and seemingly random. This isn't. This is very predictable. It's happening all the time, much more recently. Like that's like the Nadler brain rot. He's been doing stuff like that for years, since 2016. But the stuff that we just showed you in that last, which was part of an excerpt from what Seth Meyers put together, I don't think that he used to do that back in 2016. I don't think he used to do that in 2020. He was buffoonish, he'd mix things up or whatever. But this is a very particular thing, and it is concerning because Dr. John Gardner said that this is like one of the diagnostic criteria, not for generalized cognitive decline, but the results of already existing brain damage. That's how he described it. And I want to give you a little bit more of what he had said in an interview with Salon about this. He said Trump manifested a number of the phonemic periphasius. He was trying to say evangelist, for example, but haltingly said evangelish. He was trying to say 3 years later, but said 3 years, lady, lady, lady. Trying to spit out the word lately, he sounded like a car with a bad battery struggling to turn over. When Trump can't find a word, his whole demeanor changes. It's almost like someone pulled the metaphorical plug. He looks blank, stops in mid-sentence or even mid-word. His jaw goes a little slack. And when he starts to talk again, he slurs, speaks haltingly, and often looks confused. Trying to get the word out, he shifts to a non-word that's easier to pronounce. When people are losing their ability to use language, they use non-words. They start with the stem of a real word and then they improvise from there. And if you take anything from this video, other than just like a laugh, and I get it, it is funny, it's one of the reasons I like covering it. I just want you to be on the lookout for that sort of issue. Not him like saying an insane word, but like when he's like trying to come up with snake pass or whatever, and he's saying steak mountain, that is evidence of a man in real time trying to work through fundamental physical issues with his brain. Okay, and it's not something he can hide. He can work through it, and look, to his credit, I think he works through it pretty quickly. It's not like he's struggling for a minute to come up with the word or whatever, but it's happening all the time now. And finally, to end our segment on this, and I understand, look, when he uses the claim of like AI, it's buffoonish. It fits in with Donald Trump being completely incapable of admitting his failings or his weaknesses or when he's wrong. That's like a lifelong thing. But I also just want to remind people, because I've been really trying to beat the war drums about this for a long time. Like this, the issue that AI presents in terms of misinformation is significant, but it's also multifaceted. And it's so easy to get caught up in the like they're gonna make a fake video side of it, which is true, and it is concerning. They're gonna be putting together videos of politicians that will be manipulated, that will be deep fakes. They're gonna put together audio recordings of people, activists, politicians, whatever, celebrities, in advance of their goals. They'll have a video, an audio of Tom Hanks talking about eating a baby or something, so the QAnon people can get all horny or whatever. That stuff is definitely gonna happen, and we should focus on it. But this side, I think, is almost more insidious, because now, simply because that stuff exists or could exist, even if they're mainly the people who are gonna use it, now they can use it as a shield. And they're all doing that. Trump is using it as defenses against his brain rot. Roger Stone is using it as a defense against him making violent threats against people having to do with the 2020 election. Minor political figures who are caught on tape saying things or claiming that it's AI. That, I think, is even worse, because if you put out a video and it's fake, you in theory could demonstrate that. You could run it through an algorithm or a program that would show that it's fake. That wouldn't fix all the damage, because 1 out of 100 people who saw the original thing will see the correction, but at least you could address it. What are you supposed to say about this? Like, I'm trying my best to fact check it, but I can't prove to him that they weren't AI manipulated or whatever. That's what makes it so insidious, is that it's kind of non-falsifiable. And it's an easy out for dishonest people, or in this case, demented people, to evade responsibility for their physical condition or their crimes.